Hey guys, it's Tricia Carr. I have new exciting things going on with my Mystic Arts Academy. You can now subscribe to receive all of the live monthly content for about a third of the investment of a single class. Included are at least one downloadable guided meditation per month, 2 live events ranging from classes, channeled messages, group readings, intuitive development guidance, Q&A sessions, and tons of community. You'll also have access to a private Facebook community for fellowship and support, and this space is kept super sacred and high vibrational. Your subscription gives you access to the whole library of classes and live events, which are on a vast array of topics. All events are offered online by Zoom video call, and many are also offered live in person at my studio here in Los Angeles. Subscribing to the Mystic Arts Academy is also a way for you to support the Charmed Life podcast and engage on a deeper level. I'm offering the subscription at a super low rate of $22 a month. Joining now locks in this rate for as long as you're subscribed. Click on the description of this episode or go to my website, triciacarcharm.com, and click on Mystic Arts Academy. I look forward to connecting. Hi everyone, it's Tricia Carr. Welcome to this mini episode of Charmed Life. And oh my gosh, is it 28? It is. Phase 28 of 29 days of lunar phase. If it's your first time joining, I have done a whole series. This is the 28th day straight of charting the lunar energies. Tomorrow will be the last day. Is that right? Yeah. Gosh, I keep forgetting. Yes, that's right, because we will be then, the new moon phase starts on Monday. This is being actually recorded on a Saturday. And this series is intended to be a bit evergreen. Actually, you can use this, you can start this on Monday over from phase 1 and listen to it and chart along with it and see how you feel those energies. And some of it was actually about the current energy report, because we did go through things like Mercury retrograde and some other interesting cosmic energy shifts. But at the same time, you also don't have to go along with the actual lunar phase of this, because this is all about synchronizing with the whole, with the all. And so if you land on day 17 when you are day 1 for some reason, then you aligned with it for a reason. And having said that, I also want to point out, so tomorrow, the next episode will actually be one of my full-length Charmed Life, and I have a really awesome guest. Oh, it's so cool. I'm not going to spoil it now. We have a really amazing guest, and I'm also going to be doing a solo episode really soon. And you can find those full episodes by looking at the titles either on YouTube or on the podcast, however you get your podcast. The full episodes start with a number, so that like the next one I think is 159, and these are starting with P's actually, since it's a lunar phase series. And with that, let's talk about this waning crescent. We are still in waning crescent the last couple of days, or really there's maybe a day and a half. I'm going to do waning crescent again tomorrow, because we'll enter the new moon phase sometime between Sunday and Monday, as this particular lunar calendar is aligning. It's about 28 to 28 and a half days, so that's why I'm just doing 29 days. That's how it's kind of laying out this time. Anyway, we are in the very last portion before the next new moon, when we actually set the intentions again. And this waning crescent is about, we've talked a couple of days of the waning crescent already and looked at a few different angles. Today, the energy is really reminding us of deeper and deeper surrender. During this waning crescent time, also called the balsamic moon, there is healing, there's release, and surrender. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about surrender, because I find surrender very interesting, because we think about surrender. Sometimes people are uncomfortable with the concept of surrender just on the face value, because surrender may be associated with giving up control or being weak in some way, or not being responsible. But I think it's actually the opposite. It's very responsible. The deeper you go into surrender, then you're actually going to find a way for you to be responsible. And this paradox, I think, is the magic potion of how to create reality. The paradox being radical surrender and radical responsibility. Because as you go deep, 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 and deeper into surrender, surrendering that you can't control everything, that there is one energy or there is a collective that you are actually flowing with, ebbing and flowing with. When you do that, then you actually relax and you find your place in it, and you take your spot shoulder to shoulder with all of the other components to which you are surrendering, the greater whole. You become a part of the greater whole. And so it actually is this sort of razor's edge of the same energy, surrender and responsibility. Darryl Anka, who channels Bashar, I've heard Bashar say that responsibility is your ability to respond, to break that down for you. And in that view of what responsibility is, then we can see how surrender gets us to responsibility. Because if it is our ability to respond, to what are we responding? That could only be the ebb and the flow of the collective of the all, and we reach that by way of surrender. Surrender is associated with the pirate ships waving the white flag, and I think that's an okay thing. When you actually just relax so much that it's just clarity. That's what that white flag seems to symbolize to me. There's nothing left but clarity. Because I have been attempting to hold on to something or run ahead of time or run ahead of the now in some way, or to look back at the past at a different now that isn't the now that's now. And there's only one now. And when we do that, when we actually surrender, we become so deeply present that we actually interrupt old habits. The habits that of force, the habits of pressing our will and attempting to force the field, to force our way that is kind of being directed by an autonomy that does not include the whole of the picture, the whole ecosystem, the whole universe, all of the energies. And that's that kind of going rogue that I talk about, which is also something that they talk about in like teams and military and stuff. Going rogue, meaning that somehow we think that I alone can control this. I alone create something. But it's actually a co-creation. It always is. It's impossible for anything to become material without the energies agreeing with it and allowing that magnetism to be answered. And so surrender is really a beautiful thing. When you, for example, if you are feeling sort of disappointed, which might be a kind of depressed energy, or if you're feeling fearful, which would be more of an anxious energy. If you just decide that your state of peace and clarity, and you surrender to it, and that's the only thing that's important, then in that deep surrender, like I say, you interrupt the old habits. The old thinking and feeling habits of that lower mind or the ego mind wants the addictive feeling that it has been experiencing of being disappointed or feeling anxious or feeling somehow non-present. And when you just kind of give up and decide, well, it hasn't been working the other way, to be feeling and holding energy of these other kinds of separation energies where maybe I'm a victim, or maybe I have to be extremely competitive, some other of those like extreme polarizing energies. And when we just give up because that's just not working and it doesn't feel good, surrendering in that way is actually honoring yourself, and you interrupt whatever neural architecture you have been practicing. You start to practice a new one. And that's when things, everyone knows how. One of my close friends just told me this story, is the story of his family. How when people are experiencing like infertility, and then they kind of give up on trying, and boom, they get pregnant. Or they are experiencing infertility and they give up on trying, and therefore they start the adoption process. That's when they get pregnant, when they've tried absolutely everything under the sun. And that's for two reasons. They did the thing where they surrendered and they gave up the energy of experiencing not having something, that kind of tension, the yearning, the craving energy, which is not actually the magnetizing energy. It is the energy of repelling. It's recognizing you do not have something, you are not capable of something. But when you surrender, and then that scenario of then starting the adoption process, well, then they stepped into the energy. They brought their parenthood into the now, and that's when the natural process agreed. It's really magical. This is how we operate. This is how nature operates. And so with this energy today, I encourage you and I encourage myself to find some way to surrender even more deeply and see if there's a way to release fear, anxiety, disappointment, any expectations that were so particular. Because if we are white-knuckling some kind of expectations or white-knuckling something that is we are meant to perform, some kind of performative experience of ourselves and judging ourselves for not doing it, then we are strangleholding with those white knuckles our ability to be reached by the collective, by the universe, by source energy, by God energy, by the elementals, by star beings, whomever, whatever, by angels that alights you, whatever makes you feel inspired. Release, relax, surrender, and you will be able to take your place in the power of this creation process. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. And again, stay tuned for a full episode tomorrow and the final day of 29 days of lunar phase. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are. Hey everyone, it's Tricia Carr. I'm really excited because it is the time of the year for me to offer my Animal Communication Comprehensive Program live online. Whether you are interested in the profession or if you would like to connect more deeply with your own animal family members, having an understanding of this form of telepathy will enhance your life and all of your other intuitive gifts. About once per year, I offer this program live, and that time is now. It is starting in December of 2019, and this particular live program has some bonus time added in. So the way this program works is it is delivered live online, and we also have a private study group of a beautiful community of like-hearted animal and nature lovers. Go ahead and check it out. The link is in the description, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for your love of animals, for your love of our planet, and for shining your light on our beautiful world.